Greetings and welcome, my friends. This is Shoe Happy. No, wait, it's Shao Happy. He's Show Happy. Let's see if that's true at the end of the game. We're kicking things off with a 1-lander. Wow. Thanks, Shuffler. Then we get a 3-lander with a good set of goodies. We've got a factory plus duplication. I like it. Keep. We'll ship the Helm. It's unfortunate, but it's the card we can most afford to not have in hand. They play out a Johnny Fairplay. I'm almost sure nobody but equipped decks play this guy. They plop down a Rawl. Equip confirmed. Rawl is going to be a pain. I just know it. Let's bounce him before they do try to make us board their pain train. Three mana means it's time for our factory outlet to come on down. Let's slash prices and prepare for customer orders. On top we have a Battlefront and an Elspeth. They are both good, but we need a 4th mana before we can even consider keeping Elspeth. Hey, it's Fat Albert. He's a stainer. They follow up with a croissant. We'll make a sandwich here pretty soon. We'll play out the snare. It's a Robot Overlord for us. And they lose their croissant. Let's not let them keep a flyer. They play out a chainsaw and use it to snipe our Robot Overlord. We were counting on being able to block, but on the bright side, their men are not that big. We draw a Helm, and that will be our play. This time, our Robot Overlord won't be small enough to snipe with a chainsaw, and even if we don't draw a 4th land, we'll be able to keep making AI men. They play out a Dragoon Lance. It makes a token that has flying on their turn. Then they follow up with another croissant. Does it come with a pat of butter? We do draw a 4th land finally, but it enters tapped. That's unfortunate, but we're not without plays. The question is, do we send it and leave only a single blocker up, or do we hold what we got? I think for now we should hang on. We can make a copy of our Robot Overlord if they try for a removal, and we have our bounce available as well. They go to equip their token. We'll let them have it for now. We'll wait to see if they send in anything else, or if it'll be just the token. They send it, but it's only the token. We'll fire off our bounce and take the 0 damages. No damages, bro. No damages. Now we'll make a copy of our Robot Overlord. And we can finally fire off the Battlefront. Fire in the Fat Albert cornhole. That's another factory, and we'll take the Bay as well. This should give us plenty of Robot Overlords, enough to possibly run the table. They give us the GGs and poop it and scoop it. Please don't leave a trail on my floor on your way out. This is Lucy Fur. She likes purple, glowing rocks, and dislikes boob armor. Nice. We get a 3-lander with a factory and duplication with a removal. I like it. Keep. They throw down a Smelf. We might know what they're cooking. They play out a station wagon, but the Smelf doesn't have a license to drive that thing. We draw into a Scry land, and we'll play it out. On top, we have another factory, and we'll keep it. They drop in a green Overlord for its impending cost. The ramp is strong with this one. For some reason, they keep their Smelf back. A protection spell, maybe? Time to bring down our first factory. We'll start printing the free shipping signs. On top, we have a Foundry and a 3 steps ahead. The time for the Foundry might have come and gone, but an instant factory is always awesome. They play out an Ice Till Explorer. I would be worried, but I'm not. They're a single point of power, short of crewing their station wagon. But they can fix that with a snakeskin veil, right? I think the opponent outsmarted themselves there. Probably should have saved that for a better moment. The question is, do we go for an instant factory or do we go for the snare? They are tapped out, so this does give us a window to use our snare. And we'll get a Robot Overlord along with it. Let's go for it. We'll snipe their station wagon. It's big enough that it'll run over our first Robot Overlord. They drop a land in, and the Explorer mills away a card. That looks like a Hydra. They fire off an Origins, and while they surveil, we see that it was indeed a Hydra. Oopsie poopsie, bro. Hope you can get that back somehow. They're going all out over there. An Origins is fine, it's temporary gain. It is a lot of ramp, though. If they have a solid payoff, we will be tested. We draw our 5th land. When we play out a Helm, we'll be able to use its copy ability right away. For this turn, we'll go with a surprise snare. Once again, they are tapped out, and making snare tokens will clear out their men, while also generating Robot Overlords. So easy, even a caveman could do it. And hits so good it should be illegal. Honestly, I don't really care about the Explorer. They can keep milling away their stuff. They've had a great track record so far. It's the bigger stuff we'll keep an eye on. Let's get in for some beats. Our Robot Overlords love to turn enemies into jam. They take the hit. Damages, bro, damages. They send in their Origins. Sure, they could have pump, but even if they do, it's being used on a temporary guy. We'll block. Let's make them use another card. They've outsmarted themselves yet again. We draw a bounce, but this turn belongs to one of our Helms. We'll have the mana to make a snare copy and keep sniping their stuff while building up our Robot Overlords. Let's send it. Delivery is always free. The opponent takes it on the chin. Another couple of hits, and they'll be knockout blows. Let's activate the Helm. I was going to wait until the end of their turn, but let's limit the number of blockers they have now. Because of our bounce and snare copying, they're going to need to play out 4 blockers this turn, and they have only 2 cards in hand. And that heirloom is not a blocker. Try again, bro. Try harder. A land is definitely not a blocker either. Nice try. They send in their 1 blocker. Sure, bro, sure. All there is to do is send it. Even if they have an instant blocker, it's not enough. GG's extra Robot Overlord cheese. This is CO2. He looks oddly familiar. Will the real Sharkman please stand up? We get a 3-lander with our defensive cards and a Helm. We're set to battle and delay until a factory shows up. Keep your pants on. Our Scryland shows us another Scryland on top. We'll keep it. Getting to 4 means Battlefront mana in case we draw 1. Our Scryland shows us another Sawblades on top. In this economy, we'll keep it. We have removals with a side of removals, served up hot and tasty. We'll play out the Adagia this turn. They have nothing on board, and we're not in a hurry to play out the Helm. They play out a free booty. Sometimes it's free, and sometimes you think it's free, but have to pay somehow. We draw a bay, and that could help us find a factory outlet. You know, we are all about slashing prices. We'll hold what we got. This could be a sacrifice deck by the way it feels so far. They send in the free booty, we don't want none. They don't have any follow-up plays. Maybe they have a handful of removals? We draw a 3 steps ahead, which is perfect. This time we will play out the Bay. Now that we have a 2-mana artifact, we can sacrifice to get a factory. The time has come to get a factory outlet on our board. All hail our Robot Overlords. On top, we have a land and another snare. We like both, but let's draw the island first. Let's play out the Helm, and we'll generate our first Robot Overlord, while also having mana to copy it. We're going to test their removals. They snipe one of our scry lands. Fetching out a land will shuffle away the snare, but with one in hand and a way to copy it, we'll be fine. Let's not lose a land for nothing. You had to have seen that coming. They snipe our Robot Overlord, but before it goes away, we'll make a copy. We'll drain away that hand if they're holding all removals. There's another removal, and now they're down to only 2 cards in hand. We draw a Battlefront, which could be amazing, but first let's go for a surprise synthesizer. We got nothing. Your go, my bro. They drop a land and pass the turn. That's our cue to make an instant synthesizer. Brace yourself. Robot Overlords are coming. On top, we have a land and an Elspeth. Both are fine. The land will let us fire off the Battlefront and have mana up for making another token synthesizer. Elspeth will double up on all the tokens we generate. That means double synthesizers when we copy the token one we have with our Helm. We're going to be shoving the opponent on the pain train whether they want to go or not.
My blade just ranks grow.
Another removal? Sure, bro. All you. They're looking for Robot Overlords in our deck. Hilarious. We drew a 6th land, despite our opponent shuffling the deck for us. That's enough to fire off the Battlefront, and we can make a couple of token synthesizers as well. Fire in the opponent hole. That's a factory and another Helm. This is going to be Looney Tunes unless they scoop it up. Even Bahama Mama is useless at this point. They didn't bring enough removals. They get the smell out of town. GG's, extra cheese. This is tries very hard. Welcome to the big show. We get a 3-lander with a factory and a way to make a copy. The bounce can hold off an enemy while we drop in the synthesizer. Oh wait, they didn't want to be on the big show after all. This is floor is Bro and Geese. I think even they don't know what they typed here. We get a mono blue shuffler special. Had one of these lands been a white mana, we might have given this a shot. But it's time for the shuffler to mess with us. Mull. Then we get a similar looking hand, but this time we have a mono white shuffler special. But in this case, if we draw a plains, we'll have blue mana. We'll give it a shot. Keep. We'll send the instant synthesizer on down. We'll try to make the rest of our cards work. We'll play out the Foundry. We'll be set if we can get some blue. We draw a snare and we'll have to keep waiting. They play out a vault. They're playing artifacts as well. We've drawn a mirror match. They play out a snare. It'll get rid of our Foundry, which really isn't going to help us do much right now. It's not a big loss. We draw a second Foundry, and we'll play it out. They go with a second snare, and this could be a case of them using removals too early. Just because you have them doesn't mean you should play them out. We draw a plains, and that will turn our verges into duels. Even with all their removals, we'll play out the factory. This is what they should have snared. On top, we have a pair of lands. We'll keep the island. That will let us fire off the Battlefront, or we could make an instant synthesizer. They don't have any further removals. Oopsie poopsie bro. Should have saved some for the real threats. We get to 4 mana, and we'll fire off the Battlefront. Fire in the cake hole. They hit our Battlefront with a negate, and that will be the end of that. Luckily, they didn't negate our synthesizer. They play out an ever-flowing well. It's an alright card, but I probably wouldn't try it in a synthesizer deck. They're tapped, so we're going with a surprise synthesizer at sorcery speed. On top, we have an authority and another 3 steps ahead. I like both, but let's ship the authority. We need to keep finding ways of generating more Robot Overlords. They fire off a stock up. They're trying to find their hammer of justice. There it is. We knew it. It was just a matter of time before they found a factory of their own. The difference here is we kept our removal for a good target, and their factory is the best card to snipe. Now we can get in there for hits. Damages, bro. Damages. They play out a second one. That's fine. They follow up with a snare. Let's see what they take before we respond with our bounce. They take one of our Robot Overlords. I suppose they had to, but they could have snared our snare. Anyways, that's going to be GG's. We can bounce their Robot Overlord, and the path to their face will be wide open for our AI men. They get the smell out of town. We shark them even with mana issues. This is chunky anxious. I mean, that's what it's got to be, right? We get a 4-lander with a pair of removals and a Battlefront. Kind of weird, but this will work. We do have a pair of scry lands to get some peaks. Keep your pants. Honestly, I was kind of disappointed with this background. All it does is make bubbles in the incubation tubes. They should have made it crack like you tapped it too hard, and crack more and more when you tap it. That would have been cool. And then, of course, reset after a while. Our scry land shows us an island on top. We've got plenty of lands for now, so we'll ship this on down. They throw down the last ride. Let's make this their last ride. Our scry land shows us another land on top. We've got all the lands we need. Let's not go there. They play out a show-off. Mono Red's once famous annoyance has returned. We draw 3 steps ahead and we'll play out a land and pass the turn. We've got an instant removal that we can use for their show-off. They might have pumps, so let's wait and see if they try to hit us for more damages. It doesn't look like it, so we'll snipe their show-off. He can try showing off in his coffin. We'll fire off the Battlefront this turn. Fire in the show-off hole. We'll take the Authority and the Snare. We've come to the final form of the deck. We traded in Elspeth and a Helm for a full set of authorities. Most games were often decided even without Elspeth, and a defensive measure that we could play out early seemed like a great way to go. They go for another show-off, but this one enters tapped, and it gains us a life as well. We draw a factory outlet. It's time to get it in there. On top, we have an Adagia and a Foundry. We'll pass on the land, but keep the Foundry. They are playing red, so they might have a way of destroying our Synthesizer. They send in their show-off, but we'll wait for their pump to bounce it. There's no pump, so we won't bounce it. They play out a Cataclysm. It's a big crock that we'll want to shove in a crock pot. We'll play out our Snare and snipe the show-off. We're declaring this a no-fly zone. They have a Robot Overlord knocking at their door, so they station up. We draw a Battlefront. It's as good as a ticket to get on board the pain train. Pack your bags, bro. You're going whether you want to or not. That's a Snare, and near the back of the bus is a Helm. We'll say goodbye to their crockpot and get a pair of Robot Overlords. They're going to need a lot of blockers or a lot of removals. Let's see them, bro. Manual taps for a Colossus. It's big, but it enters tapped and it was warped in. Not a blocker. What the crackers? They pump it? For real, bro? Oh, I see. They were trying to take us to Combo Town. We declined that ticket and we'll counter with a bounce. Yeah, that's GG's extra cheese. And that, my friends, is another satisfied customer.